Welcome again to our Bible study. This is Chaplain Cologne from M&M Industries in the Chattanooga location, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to once again come here and share a bit with you. I've been thinking over the last couple of days about this, and have you ever stopped to think about when a baby is born? What's the first thing that, or one of the first things, I guess, that we expect and even hope for? A crying baby. We need to hear a baby crying to know that everything's okay, that everything's turned out, just fine. So that's so important for us. It's a natural thing. Not only do they cry when they're born, but they also cry when they're hungry, when they're sleepy, and things can get really bad actually when they're hungry or sleepy. It goes from crying to just a crazy moment sometimes, and they get really tough. But little babies, as well as adults, they can get hangry. I know some people that can get hangry when they're not fed on time, but maybe you're not one of them. Maybe it's just people in my circle. But this is not the only time that we think about people that cry. We as human beings, we cry in different situations that we run into. It's not just a physical, it could be an emotional reaction, like when many men go and have their shots done. Well, I might have lost some of you right there with that comment. But anyways, but all kidding aside, there's different reasons why we cry, or why we cry out of desperation. Speaking of crying out, I've always been intrigued by people that say, when you've lost a loved one or gone through a crisis, a divorce, or just a situation that is so painful, not to cry, to get over and whatnot. I hope that's not your situation, and that take the opportunity to grieve your loss, mourn your loss, experience your grief. I've learned in my life and observing many other people that pain simply cannot be punted. So I'm going to shift for a minute here to a situation in the Bible that has a man that cried out or shouted out to Jesus, depending on the version that you use. But the emphasis is basically the same. The story is found in the book of Mark, chapter 10, verse 46 through 52. And I'll be using, when I make specific or direct quotes, from the Passion Translation, but you can use a different version that they basically, for the most part, say the same thing. The story is about a blind beggar, and this man, Bartimaeus, had a need for healing in his body. So in a given moment in this chapter, it says that Jesus was going by. So he shouted out to Jesus, who was passing by, and the scripture says that he was blind. So someone must have told him, or he must have heard, maybe through commotion, because there was always a gathering around Jesus. But whichever way it was, he heard. He heard and found out about Jesus being around. The Bible records that the nature of his request was an emphatic one. In fact, if you read the original language, which is in Greek, it's an imperative. Now, it wasn't a command, but it was an asserted request. He did not make any mistakes in his statements. It was very simple. He asked for mercy, attention, like now. Can you heal me? I need your help now. I don't know about you, but if you only have one shot to do something in your life, you want to give it your best shot. And so he shouted out. He couldn't see Jesus. He needed Jesus' attention, and he's trying to get his attention. So he just basically, he didn't care about the bystanders, people that were around. He just wanted to convey the fact that he needed help, and Jesus was one that could help him in that moment. Apparently, the shouting and the request was disturbing to some people, and it seems like it upset some of Jesus's handlers or the crowd, and they were upset. It says in verse 48 that those in the crowd were indignant and scolded him for making so much of a disturbance. But he kept shouting with all of his might, "Son of David, have mercy on me now and heal me." Sometimes there are moments in life where we need help, and we need to feel that we are being heard. This was his moment, and he was not going to be denied. The people, the naysayers, so to speak, the people was like, "Hey, shh, quiet." They rebuked him, another version says. But he kept on going. He's like, "I'm not stopping. I have this one shot, and I'm going to give it my best." So listen to what verse 49 says. Jesus stopped and said, "Call him here." So they went to the blind man and said, "Have courage." That's an upgrade, right? From be quiet, fool, stay in silence, to, hey, have courage, get up. Jesus is calling for you. So verse 50 says, so he threw off his cloak, his beggar's cloak, jumped up, and made his way to Jesus. Can you imagine the excitement, the encouragement, the wow, this is it. This is my moment. It's going to happen. So there's a lot of things happening in this scripture, and I don't want to ignore the fact that Jesus did heal this man's sight. And maybe on another occasion, I'll share, or one of the other chaplains may share more about this story in detail. But I encourage you to read that whole passage, Mark 10, verse 46 through 52. But I just want to shift now to focus on one small detail. That verse that I read, verse 49, that says, Jesus stopped. Mark is a short gospel, and he is very intentional in how he writes, like as the other authors as well. But he's writing fast. And if you do a little bit of research of Mark, you can see that he is running. But it's interesting that he uses that. It says, Jesus stopped. And I think that is so important. That's the action I want to focus on briefly. A man called out, a desperate man who was not concerned about what people thought or felt. He made his way into the life of Jesus Christ and into the Gospel of Mark. He had such an impact that Jesus came to a stop. And he stops everything. He's like, call him. And the man gets up and goes to Jesus. So suddenly the attention shifts from the crowd to the individual. Jesus pays attention to us as people. He doesn't see us as just a number or a crowd. We do that. People. We, the people. You, me, everybody. From time to time, we'll look at numbers. We'll look at things. And sometimes we're not able to see past a number or past an event and see people for who they are. So even though we sometimes do not see people where they are, Jesus always sees where we are. Other people may not see us, but God sees us. A broken heart, a suffering life, a sincere heart captures his attention. Someone captured his attention because something captured his attention. I'm going to say that again. Someone captured his attention because something captured his attention. Faith, belief, a cry, a shout from a man willing to cause disturbance to get Jesus' attention. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you cried out in this manner? Have you ever felt such a way that it didn't matter how it looked, how others thought about it, but you called out to Christ, you called out to Jesus saying, I need your help. God is not deaf. It's not a matter of volume. It's a matter of the heart. There's a lot more that I can share about this story, but I want to share part of a song that calls for us to cry out to Jesus. It's a song by Third Day, and I'm just going to read some of the lyrics because they speak it a lot nicer than I could. It says, "To everyone who's lost someone they love, long before their time, you feel like the days you had were not enough when you said goodbye. And to all the people with burdens and pains keeping you back from your life, you believe there's nothing and there is no one who can make it right. There is hope for the helpless, rest for the weary, and love for the broken heart. And there is grace and forgiveness, mercy and healing. He'll meet you wherever you are." Cry out to Jesus. For the marriage that's struggling just to hang on, they've lost all of their faith in love, and they've done all they can to make it right again. Still, it's not enough. For the ones who can't break addictions and chains, you try to give up, but you come back again. Just remember, you're not alone in your shame and your suffering. There is hope for the helpless, rest for the weary, and love for the broken heart. There is grace and forgiveness, mercy and healing. He'll meet you wherever you are. Cry out to Jesus. Am I saying that Jesus is a quick fix? No, absolutely not. Maybe you've tried, or you felt that you were not heard, or that this is for someone else. No, we're here. I'm speaking to you. I encourage you to speak to your chaplain. What? You're saying you've never cried out to Jesus? That's okay. One of us can help you. We are here to support you, to help, to guide, to pray with you and pray for you. Most importantly, Jesus is waiting to hear your crying out, your shout. All you need to tell him is saying, "God, I need your help." God bless you, and thank you.